Well, I couldn't resist in closing this series with Planes, the Fire and Rescue for a couple of reasons. One, I really hoped I was going to get invited to go see it with my grandkids. And two, I got dissed and they went with other members of the family and left me home on a night that Janet wasn't home. I was home all by myself. I had nothing else to do. Whatever it's worth, I let them know. But they thought it was funny and Pop didn't. He didn't think it was nearly as funny. But I don't know if you know about the movie's Cars and the movie's Planes and all, but they're animated characters, and they obviously have voices of actors and actresses you probably recognize. And the Planes, the Fire and Rescue, as far as reviews go, they say it's basically a movie to sell more toys for Disney, and it's an average film. But the message in it is what we're pulling out. The message is that when Dusty, the little crop duster, makes sacrifices and goes out, and even though he's not certified to fly into the fire because he's not designed for it, in the end he finds out that they need as many planes as they get, and whether he's certified or not, he sacrifices his comfortable position and risks his life for those that he has no idea for. Sound familiar? This idea of being able to see this, and they fly in, and I was going to show a little video clip there, but it's about 2 minutes long, and the more I thought about it, I worked all week long and thinking, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. This morning I think no one. And there's interviews in there with some of the actors. And one of them is Brad Paisley, who's a country western singer. And Brad is one of the voices. And he talks about how his dad was the president of the fire company in West Virginia. And he talked about how seeing his dad run in and do things changed his life as a child. Because he realized his dad would risk everything, not just for their family, but for people that he sometimes didn't know. And he said this was the issue. And these planes in the movie are not just going in. These are planes out in California who are dropping smoke jumpers. I mean, these folks are, you ask most of us on a normal set, they're kind of crazy. We'd probably say that about those in the service in the 82nd Airborne. So it goes on and it gets down to the end and said, this is really the tribute that we're going to pay. And understand this, but understand the sacrifice that they make. Sure, they enjoy their jobs. They get a thrill out of jumping out of that plane into the middle of a fire. I haven't figured that one out yet. But they get excited about that. And that's what they do. So since the purpose of the movie was at the beginning, to recognize those folks, I think it would be wrong to not now. How many folks do we have in the room who are or were firefighters? So we have 2. And I think we need to recognize them this morning and thank them. But the message of Planes was more than that. It goes past the cute smile of Dusty. It goes past the innuendo between the female car and the pickup truck. And of course the pickup truck has pickup lines, of course, for the car. And that becomes it. But you began looking at fire and rescue, so I thought, why don't I look up some of the synonyms to the word rescue and see what it says? And I want you to know that beyond our Disney friends and our heroes in the movie, the word rescue, number 1 in your thesaurus, means save. The word save in Greek is pronounced sozo, and it means to rescue from perilous danger. Wow. Sounds like a story I read a long time ago, or someone told me a long time ago. So our Disney friends are showing us what heroes do. Heroes go in and rescue perilous, dangerous situations. Sometimes it's just to save trees and property, as it is in the movie. Sometimes it's to save people. That's the message that we heard in the Bible thousands of years ago. Someone was willing to sacrifice, willing to go into the dangerous parts of the world and save people from that generation forever. Who's your hero? I think it'd be fair to say our firefighters can be heroes. Particularly if you've been on the side of having a house burn. I praise God that that's never happened in my life, but I also can give you testimony of a 9-year-old girl who went on to be my mother, who watched her father, sister, and brother lost in a house fire, and saw her mother rescued from a house fire and her. I can't imagine. It affected our whole lives as kids because, besides not playing with matches, we couldn't do anything with fire. It reached the point that we can laugh about it now, but we understand. But those of you who've been there, firefighters, police officers, our soldiers, are going in while others are running out. How about our parents? How about our friends? Yet as Christians, we actually claim there is only one real source of salvation, and that's Jesus. And those words come easy. And please, I'm not condemning you any more than I'm condemning myself or any less. But Luke 9:19 and verse 10, it says this, plain and simple, one verse, it's short. It says, "For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." The end. Not a whole bunch of philosophical, Jesus is like this and he's like... Luke, probably the most educated of all the writers in the Bible, he and Paul, I guess. Luke says it comes down to one simple verse. For the Son of Man, for Jesus Christ, came for one purpose, to seek, to find us and save us, because we are the lost. This is the only reason that Jesus came. Jesus comes running in when others run out. Jesus comes running in when someone has run out of a relationship in your life. Jesus comes running in when someone leaves your life in grief. Jesus comes running in when the job goes away. Jesus comes running in when you look at your last few years, months, or decades and wonder, is there going to be enough money? Am I going to be healthy enough to get to the end? I don't want to go the hard way. I want to go the easy way. We've seen the signs. You ride up and down the road. They're not as prevalent as they once were. But people would rent a billboard and would say, "Jesus saves." And those of us who are Christian would go, "Oh yeah, that's nice." But the signs never tell anybody what Jesus saves from. I'm told there are even some banks where people thought they were humorous and went in and wrote "Jesus saves" at First National Bank. And they thought that was funny. I thought it was funny. But they at least offered an answer. So let me take a minute and fill in some of the gaps. Jesus saves, and these other quotes, they refer to being lost, to be lost in darkness and in judgment, to be lost in everyday sense, not in a spiritual sense. Understand, we sometimes try to see our lost and our need to be saved as a church thing, and then, but Rick, my life's a mess. Knock, knock, hello? Jesus said that they weren't separate. Your life is your life. Oh, yeah, but I said, this is my job. It's over here. And it's just my spiritual life is really kind of struggling here. My job is going really well. Oh, that's nice. Or my job is not going well. My spiritual life is a little rough too. Do you think there's any correlation? Maybe. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible to be lost and yet not completely helpless. And sometimes that's our worst enemy, is we're lost, but we've got this ability when I can handle it. And if the men in the room are not right there along with me on this one, we're probably as bad or as good at this as anybody. I got it. I can handle it. I can fix it. I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't fix things so terribly well at my house, either for real or spiritually. Janet will share both. Sure, it is possible to be lost and not completely help the helpless. I'm sure you have ridden with at least one man in the room in a car who has been pretty daggone lost, but didn't want any help. We were going to find our way out of there. If one of us, if one can find guides and cures to find our way back, still that's consistent with what Jesus was saying. When you're lost, you need help. To be lost in darkness is just absolutely multiplied. Has anybody actually been out at night and lost in the dark? Anybody? There's been a couple of times that I've chosen to hunt, particularly on public land. And I'll go out and I sort of know it and on, and it's just one of those nights that you just know you're going to be successful and you wait to the very last minute to leave the woods. And you've probably walked a mile in from wherever your car is. And you got to get back. And about halfway back you realize you're not real sure that you're on the right path. And I will tell you that being lost in the dark is a whole lot different than being lost in the light. And as Christians, we can be lost in the light. So we can be in our faith and yet just not sure. But then there are parts in our life where we are completely lost and we are in the darkness. We are away from God and we are lost. Ask some of these folks who fought fires. Ask some of these folks who fought crime and ask them the difference in going in the daylight and the difference in going in the pitch black dark. Take a minute. Think about that last time that you were lost. Really think about it. Can you feel that feeling in your stomach? Can you feel that about 150 beats a minute? Can you feel it hard to swallow? Looking around, you're just not sure. You're lost. Do you know we are lost off and on throughout life, and we need a hero. And when I was out in the woods, there was no one to come get me. There were no cell phones then. Who is your hero? Be honest. Be honest. Who is your hero? And it's okay because you're sitting in church, you're going, well, he wants me to say Jesus is my hero. That's what he wants me to say. I know he does. And yet, I can't tell him that it's really not, because then I wouldn't be a good Christian. The last part is true. However, you need to understand, is Jesus your hero? Oh, we can have more than one hero. Your mom or dad, your children, whoever you want. Your firefighters, because particularly if you buy the calendar they put out every year and you like the month of May more than you like December. You all were thinking it, I might as well say it. Marvin, don't do that. The folks I've seen at Jessup, I'm not sure that was so. Okay? But maybe you're like that man on the roof that you're seeking a hero, and you're seeking the man on the roof who was in the flood. You've heard the story 100 times. The flood keeps on coming, and he passed up the police officer at the front door. He passed up the boat at the upstairs window. He passed up the helicopter from the top of the roof. He drowns and gets to heaven. He looks at God and he says, I was waiting on you to save me. I was waiting on you to be my hero. And God says, I sent you a police officer, a boat, and a helicopter. What did you want? We miss the hero. We're waiting for Dusty to fly in on the animated plane. We're waiting for the little bulldozers to drop out and come down and rescue us in fire and rescue. Maybe we actually believe that we're so lost that it isn't even worth hoping to have a hero. Maybe we believe that neither God nor the planes of fire and rescue can come in and save us. Nobody wants us anymore. We're too young, we're too old, we're too broken, we're too damaged, we're too abused, we're too assaulted, we're too poor, we're too rich. We stand under judgment for rebellion against God. So our rebellion, sin, has put us into darkness. We cannot see ourselves for who we are. We see ourselves as what Satan wants us to be seen as, because he knows that we won't seek out the only true hero. But here's the astonishing mystery of God's grace and of His love. Romans 5, verses 6 to 11. God's grace and love. Though we have rebelled against Him, He still loves us. In fact, God loves us so much that He sent His only Son to be our rescue hero. And unfortunately, more often than not, we choose to try to be our own hero. We choose to seek heroes of this world. We choose to seek what's the government going to do for us. We choose to seek what does People magazine say, or what does the Hollywood Star say, or what does my favorite Orioles star say. Most of them should be saying we can't hit. If you're an Orioles fan, then you would understand. We choose to seek heroes of this world, and we continue to separate ourselves from the only true rescuer that there is. To rescue means to save from perilous danger. We are in that. We are in that. If our lives are not committed to the Lord, we are in perilous danger. Today, I'm telling you, there may not be a talking plane to sweep in and save you. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee there won't be a talking plane to sweep in and save you. But there is a rescuer. There is a Savior waiting for you to say yes. Waiting for you to make Him the hero. Waiting for you to get in the boat, to get in the helicopter, to get in whatever it is, that the life raft that Christ has given you to get out of the darkness. Not because we deserve it, because we don't. And that's what's amazing. The Bible makes it clear. It said, Jesus said, while we were yet sinners, God sent His Son to save us. He sent us His Son to rescue us from perilous dangers. And yet, time and again, we kind of go, okay, that's close enough. I'm not saying we're non-believers, but we're arm's length. Close enough, because I can't let go of this hand. I'm willing to let go here and reach, but there's some things I want to hold on to. There's some things that I want to keep, even though I know they're making me lost. They're turning the lights out. So I'm going to ask you one more time. I ask you, I want you truly to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and try to feel the dark. And I know you can sense the lights are on around you. And if you're up here with me, if you're up in this area, the lights are pounding on you and you're through. But I want you to feel that dark and scary place in your life. It may not even be existing now. It may be something that exists from the time that you were a child. But it could be yesterday. It could have been this morning. And I want you to feel that lost. I want you to feel that you can feel the heart rate picking up. You can feel that sick feeling in the bottom of your stomach. That's what it's like to be lost. Now just begin imagining the heart rate slowing down. It's calming. And then you can feel these arms around you that are just so loving. They're not abusive. They're not making fun of you anymore. And they're walking you slowly out of the dark into the light. As you open your eyes, the light that you see is right here. It's as close as we can be to touching Christ Himself. He gave us this opportunity to come and share in the body of Christ, to make it as real and as tangible, to understand the Holy Spirit that lives in us, a Savior who took us from the dangerous, perilous things in our lives. Today, you can be rescued and saved. Maybe it's not for the first time. Maybe it's just a point in your life that you need to start over. And you need a dusty crop duster to come flying in. And it's not happening. But the real hero of salvation is here today. Come to the table and know that. Amen.